Word tables can perform simple mathematical functions on data, much like a spreadsheet can. In addition, Word can use data from a linked Excel spreadsheet if your calculations require more processing capability than Word can supply. In order to create a Word table that contains cells that will add, subtract, multiply, and divide numbers, you must insert formulas into the cells where you want to display the answers to the mathematical operations. Formulas are fields that perform calculations on the values contained in other table cells. Formulas always start with an equal sign. They often refer to the cell addresses from which they gather the data used in their calculations. These cell addresses can be linked together with standard mathematical operators like a plus sign, a minus sign, a multiplication sign, or a division sign, among others. You can also perform functions like sum on a range of cells in a table. So a formula might be expressed equals sum above, which would add the values of all of the cells above the cell into which you had inserted the formula. So what is a cell address? It is a way of referring to a cell. A cell address is the relative location of a cell in a table. Imagine that there are letters at the top of each column, starting with A at the far left, and then continuing to increase one letter at a time to the right. In addition, imagine that each row has a number assigned to it. The topmost row is 1. The row numbering then continues downward, increasing by 1 for each new row. The cell address is the column letter followed by the row number. For example, the top left cell is always A1. Here is a table with the cell addresses entered into the corresponding cells to assist you in seeing the pattern of the cell address naming convention. As stated previously, a cell formula begins with an equal sign and is often followed by the cell addresses of the cells upon which you want to perform the mathematical operations. For example, to add the cells above A5 and display the result of the formula in cell A5, you would begin by clicking into cell A5. You would then insert a formula field that would look like either equals A1 plus A2 plus A3 and so on, or equals sum above. Instead of displaying the formula itself within the cell will display the answer. This is because when you insert a formula field into a cell, Word knows it should display the answer to the formula instead of the actual formula itself. Formulas display their results by default, not their actual contents. Now you will learn how to insert a formula field into a cell. First, click into the table cell where you want the answer to be displayed. This is often the cell at the end of a continuous column or row of numbers. Next, click the Layout tab of the Table Tools tab in the ribbon. Then click the Formula button in the Data button group. This will open up the Formula dialog box. This dialog box is where you actually enter the formula that will then be inserted into the table cell as a formula field. Note that when the Formula dialog box opens, Word will try to guess what function it is that you want to perform. In our example, Word is guessing that we want our formula to be the sum of all of the cells above this cell. If Word's suggestion is the correct formula, just click the OK button at the bottom of this box to accept it and insert the formula field into the cell. If it is not correct, then click into the formula text box and enter the correct formula. After you have entered the desired formula into the formula text box, you can then use the number format drop-down to select a pattern for the display of the number. This is often useful when you want the result to have a specific numeric format. Note that in Word you can use the terms left, right, above, and below to refer to the adjacent cells in a row or column to the left of, to the right of, above, or below the current cell. This is simply a more convenient way of indicating the range of cells upon which you want the function to be performed. You can also designate a cell range by typing the cell address of the upper left cell in the range of cells, followed by the colon symbol, and then followed by the cell address of the lower right cell in the range of cells. But what about the word sum? Sum is an example of a formula function. If you are only trying to perform one mathematical operation on a range of cells, you can use functions like sum, average, max, and min in your formula instead of writing in all of the cell addresses and mathematical operators individually. Word provides you with many standard functions in the paste function dropdown. Selecting any function from the list of functions will add it to the formula shown in the formula text box. Once you have the Word formula created, you can click the OK button to insert the formula field into the selected cell. The results of the formula will then be shown.